What if I told you that a 340-pound defensive lineman will move better and faster than the linebackers behind him? What if I told you that this kid is being considered one of the best defensive tackles by a lot of NFL scouts around the league? Let's talk about Kenneth Grant and why he is by far the number one nose tackle, one tech, and why he's the number one game wrecker in this entire draft. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another one. Make sure to like and subscribe to the video. We got a good one. We got one that a lot of people has been intriguing. They wanted me to deep dive deeper into this player, and his name is Kenneth Grant. He comes from the University of Michigan. This team, what a defense over the course of 4 years. What a defense. What a number of guys they have put into the league. Very, very impressive. And he shared the defensive line group with probably a top 5 player in this entire draft as well, with Mason Graham. These two individuals made it almost impossible, and I do mean impossible, for them to run up on. When you face this team, even as the Ohio State Buckeyes, the national champions, how hard it was to run the football on this team right here. And that reason is being anchored by the big, stout defensive tackle, Kenneth Grant, out of Michigan. Look, Grant's early life begins in Merrillville, Indiana, where in high school, he had his football career there. His senior year, he posted 38 tackles and 6.5 sacks with 12 quarterback hurries. In 2021, he was recognized as a D-lineman Athletic Conference of the Year, and he soon committed to the University of Michigan. In 2022, Grant's freshman year, he played 14 games and became a key starter in the later years. That is very impressive. So early on, this kid had what it took. Jim Harbaugh always talked about how this man, and I do mean that was one of the first plays that caught my eye on film, this man chased down at 340 pounds a running back that is in the draft. In the video, he was outrunning linebackers, safeties, etc. Even though they had bad angles, that the fact that this 340-pound man was able to do that is mind-blowing. He is also a 2-time All Big Ten selection, and he helped contributed to that Michigan national title that was back in 2023. As I mentioned before, Grant stands about 6'3", maybe 6'4", 339 pounds. Very heavy, very good size. You know, it's not bad weight at all. Very good weight for the nose tackle position, and especially if he can play at good leverage. As far as his strengths is his strength. This man is a conqueror inside in the trenches, man. I pay attention to when, you know, a guy strikes an offensive lineman, and when he, you know, tries to distort, if the offensive lineman, how much force is being reacted with the guy he's stalemating with. And this guy, when he uses all of his energy, best believe offensive linemen are going tumbling and going fumbling, and they falling all over the place. This man possesses insane strength. I just talked about earlier about his athletic ability. I characterize this generational defensive tackle class, by the way, check out the video if you haven't, one of my most viral videos, but I classified this defensive tackle group as dancing bears. And the guy who's literally the spokesman, the poster child for that soliloquy or colloquialism is Kenneth Grant. Because at his size, at his weight, at his strength, this guy's athleticism his potential is beyond out of this world. You would think he can get away with playing in maybe for a few snaps how well he moves vertically and horizontally down the line. He's a tank in the middle. If you need him just to be that, immovable object, it's going to still be some growing pains, because that's just normal for every D tackle going from playing against children, well, not children, kids, and now going against playing against grown men. He still needs to grow into that grown man body, but his floor, what he has right now, is able to contribute almost immediately to any football team right now. And he can have great pursuit. He's not just a stationary object. Like I said, he will play down the line and maintain and be a great pursuit backside. Any guy at that size, if they can pursue backside, that's dangerous. And I know it terrifies any type of running back coming after you, man. I also like how he's always, moving his hands, not just shooting off, using, because he's very imposing. He has great strength. He also, makes it almost impossible, moving the hands, making it impossible for, offensive linemen to get a great landmark. What I mean by landmark, if they can punch his chest, because, it's all about hand fight within the trenches and stopping his momentum. But he does a good job of getting skinny, using his hips. That shows the versatility he has. Now, some of the weaknesses he has is probably the weakness that could limit his potential. The only thing is, this man has all of the athleticism in the world, all of the strength in his world. But the main thing you see on film is that you don't see it on every down, or you only see it at certain bursts within the game. Now, I mentioned his weight earlier, how it was good. He still needs to come into that man body, which is, trimming down some of that, body fat, body mass, ratio, however they do it. He needs to get up to conditioning, because you'll see plays where he'll chase down a running back 30 yards down the field, outrunning everybody on the team. But I promise you, it was a play where he probably just subbed in and he had enough gas in the tank, because when he's on E, he pretty much becomes, you don't see the athleticism as much. So obviously his biggest room for improvement is his wind. But I see him being a great 4-3-1 tech with some 3 tech potential. If you have a guy that's just big, and if you want some type of bare front, bare being, they're having like a 5-2, they're covering the center and they covering the guards, and you just want to have something where you don't want to be immovable. Maybe he's the key to stop the tush push, even though owners and GMs, they trying to stop it right now. He can be a 3-4 defensive tackle as well. He can really thrive in that, especially if they can get him within that weight, because within the 3-4 is just, I think it's 0 and maybe 2 4s or 2 3s, and everyone has a 2 gap and everything like that. So you trust him to be able to run down the line, be able to shoot, be able to read and react, and be able to not just be an anchor and just fall, on, striking. Now, if the play is going right here, I still want you to have some athleticism, and let's move that clog into wherever the play is being had. But overall, this kid is going to be a game changer. He's going to be a game changer. I really enjoyed his film. If he can solve his wind issue, his endurance issue, this kid can be one of the next great defensive tackles, or at least one of the most feared defensive tackles in the league, because when he has a full tank, no one can move him, and he can move anyone. That's Kenneth Grant out of Michigan, who anchored one of the great defenses in college football history. Man, his film is just amazing. Comment down below the next player y'all want to see me give a great player highlight on. I thank y'all so much. Make sure to like and subscribe to the video. We do this for the first blame and last congratulating. So I get very excited when I talk about the trenches, and this guy embodies it. But listen, until next time.